I think we are all set now. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkirpatadam Bandhe Shri Gurum Dentaranam Pramananda Madhvam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanto Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare हरे राम 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 हरे 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 नाम संकीर्तन की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य हरि भांगर साहब उपाध की जय गुरुगण गौरंगा की जय सिंबल भक्त वृंद की जय नित्य गौर प्रबंधी हरि हरि हरे कृष्णा welcome you all. So today we are going to talk. Satya Prabhu has gone through this presentation many times, but I'll change it a little bit, Satya Prabhu, for you. So what is the meaning of as it is? And you would see on Bhagavad Gita, we have this statement as it is, right? Bhagavad Gita as it is. And then when we are doing the book distribution or we are giving the classes, we say that our Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad Gita as it is, right? So as a devotees now, we need to understand what is the deeper meaning of as it is. You would see not only Brahmada Gaurya Sampradaya follower, but in every school of Vedic teaching, they follow Bhagavad Gita. They will refer everything that they believe from Bhagavad Gita and they justify the meaning of it, saying that Krishna is saying like that. In one of the lecture, Vijayavangara Prabhupada said that sometimes you would see that they give the explanation saying this battlefield is the field of life where you and I are part of dealing with day to day challenge and struggle. And Arjun represents living entity and Krishna represents Guru. So they don't think that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And Krishna is a spiritual master teaching the living entity how to deal with the subject of the life. If you go and talk to devotees who are talking about Brahman theology, they would say that when Krishna says Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, he is talking about that Aham which is inside him, who are a Brahman, and that Brahman has come down as Krishna. So he's talking about uh, that Brahman, not about him. So they don't think Krishna has Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Krishna says, Nahi Gyanina Sadrisam, there is nothing equivalent to Gyan, then Brahmanwadi would say, Krishna is saying here. So there are different meaning, and we'll try to understand that why the explanations that's given by other personalities or other theological group are justified. How? Why they justified? And what is the meaning that we receive in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, or Chaitanya Charitamrita that is given by our Acharya? So, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhagavad Gita does talk about Gunibhuta Bhakti, Pradhanibhuta Bhakti, and Kevalya Bhakti. So, this is term coming from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says Gunibhuta Bhakti is the Bhakti where there is Bhakti, but modes of material nature are prominent. So, Bhakti is being done, but it might be done in some ignorance, in some passion, in some um, goodness. But Gyan Karmadya Navritam. What is the real definition of bhakti? It should be free from Gyan and Karma, Navritam, completely dejected. So Gunibhuta Bhakti is one aspect, devotional service. And Bhagavad Gita does talk about it. Bhagavad Gita does talk about Gunibhuta Bhakti. First 6 chapter, call it, um, it's Gunibhuta Bhakti. Krishna is talking about Karma Yoga and Sakam Karma Yoga and Niskam Karma Yoga. These are all the action that we do with some interference of some aspects of modes of nature. And then he gives the term Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti, where he says that Pradhan means principal, principally, prominently. Prominently, it's bhakti. Prominently, it's bhakti, but there is still some component of modes of material nature. So, in the first step, modes of material natures are prominent, and there is some devotion. And you can see, there are people who go to Ayodhya, they go to Vrindavan, and they still have meat eating going on. They still do everything. So there is some aspect of bhakti. Bhakti, wherever it is, it's Sudha, by the way. Bhakti is never impure. Don't think that, uh, the bhakti that is done by Gunibhuta Bhakti is impure bhakti. No, no. Bhakti, wherever it is pure, but it is mixed with other components. So whatever devotion we have for Krishna, that devotion is pure, but now it is mixed up with other component. So in Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti, the prominent component is bhakti, but there is still some gun, name, fame, glory, form, pastime, all of this. I am this, I am that. This I is standing, my way of doing things. And then Vishwanath Thakur says that there is another term also given by Baldev Vidyabhushan, but I'm not going to get into that. We'll talk about later. These three things were given by Baldev Vidyabhushan also in his commentary in Gita Bhashya. So he says third one is Kevalya Bhakti, where Gyan Karma and Avritam completely Gyan and Karma is dejected. And one is purely, completely situated in unalloyed devotion to Krishna. Ahituke pratiyadaya atmasu prasidati. That type of devotion. Completely pure devotion. So Bhagavad Gita does talk about Gunibhuta Bhakti, Pradhanibhuta Bhakti, and Kevalya Bhakti. Okay. But the goal of Bhagavad Gita is to lead to Kevalya Bhakti. That is our Acharya's teaching. Yes, Bhagavad Gita does talk about Gunibhuta Bhakti, Pradhanibhuta Bhakti, and Kevalya Bhakti. But the essential teaching is to lead one through these steps and bring them to the stage of Kevalya Bhakti. Swadharman Parityaja Mahamikam Saranam Braja. So that is Kevalya Bhakti. But the translation that others are giving might be either coming from the Gunibhuta stage or coming from Pradhanibhuta stage. But our acharyas, when they say as it is, one of the meaning of as it is basically going through, navigating through all of this and firmly confirming that Krishna is Bhagwan and Bhagavad Gita is teaching about Shuddha Bhakti. Bhagavatam does not talk about Gunibhuta Bhakti. Bhagavatam talks about Pradhanibhuta Bhakti and Kevalya Bhakti. And Chaitanya Charitamrita only talks about pure devotion, by the way. These three things. If you don't know, please know. Chaitanya Charitamrita starts with pure devotion and all the way page to page is only Kevalya Bhakti. It doesn't talk about Pradhanibhuta Bhakti or anything. Mahaprabhu's teaching is only about pure devotion. So depending on where they are, they can abstract the meaning and they can present to the people. So I would like to hear from many of you what you understand about as it is. When you see this as it is on Bhagavad Gita, many of you are seeing. What do you understand from it? Who would like to talk? What you exactly you mean when you see that Bhagavad Gita as it is? What impression it gives you?
As told
Can,
by Lord Krishna Prabhu.
yeah, as told by Lord Krishna, that's for sure. But what is the intent? What exactly?
Without any of our interpretations in between.
Yeah, keeping it free from our interpretation. Right. That's very good point. Keeping it free from our interpretation. Okay. And we'll see some of those things. Okay. And what else? What else is as it is? What else? So this presentation that I'm going to talk, this was published in Back to Godhead magazine a few years back. And the title of that presentation was Das Mool Tattva, 10 original elements of devotional service. And this Das Mool Tattva, basically teaching given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Jaiva Dharma. So that article was very much talking about what are the 10 principal elements of bhaktis are. And then in that segment, the emphasis was given to understand the scripture as it is. So we'll try to basically see, but before we get into, normally whenever we study a Sanskrit verse, there are 5 steps. And I'm just, we'll talk about this later. Okay. So the whole Sanskrit writings that you see, that has, basically 2 segments. The first one is, we call it Lokaiki Sanskrit, which is written by, one of the professor of a Sanskrit department or somebody who are a scholar in Sanskrit. They have very uh, good understanding of Sanskrit. There are people who talk even in the Sanskrit, right? So that is Purusha. Lokaikam Sanskrit means certain statement that is made by ordinary scholar, and that is Purusha, written by somebody. So if the Sanskrit is compiled by someone or the meaning of that is given by someone, then it is coming with that impurity, coming with that understanding. And Prabhupada in one of the purport wrote that how perfect is the outcome depends how perfect is the machine. Any product that's coming out of a machine, the perfection of that product depend on how perfect is the machine. So that is how you see, the the realm, the domain that you see. Karm Kandi will say something, Karm Yogi will say something, uh, Gyan Yogi will say something, Astang Yogi will say something, Bhakti Yogi will also say something, right? So what is the product that's coming out? It's coming out based upon what is the consciousness. And we'll talk about, there'll be one class. What do you understand about Krishna consciousness? What Acharyas have told us. What is the definition given by Srila Prabhupada? All of us are follower of Krishna consciousness. We use this word left and right with some understanding. But what is the real understanding of that word? So this is very important for us to know. And I expect that this thing will retain. So there is compilation of Sanskrit that is given by Purusha. Now the Purusha could be of any caliber. And then the Vedic Sanskrit that we hear and read is Apurusha. Lord personally spoke to Brahma, the Chatusloki verse. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam is eternal. Bhagavad Gita is eternal. Sakalena Mahata Yogo Nashta Prantapa. Krishna says, in due course of time, this teaching has been lost. So through you, I'm going to establish it. Right? So these are eternal. Okay? These statements, the Vedic teachings are eternal. The Chatusloki verse are eternal. So these are compiled by Lord Himself, given by Lord Himself. Nisat's teachings, many teachings are Apurusha. Okay, so those Apurusha teaching, to understand the deeper meaning of that, one has to have the qualification. That's very first point I would like to make. Very first point that I would like to make is not each and everybody can give the meaning. Normally, when we try to understand the meaning of a Sanskrit, these are the 5 steps. Sanskrit verse, these are the 5 steps that are put into the place. Okay, and we'll talk about that. I will have a presentation on this later, but I just wanted to give you the glimpse so that we can get into the next step of as it is with some meaning. Why this is important. The first one is Pad Vibhag, and for that you'll have to understand the Chanda. Like most of the verses that Bhagavad Gita has Anustup verse, which means it's like 32 syllable and 4 pada, right? So how there is it's called anunad. There is certain way you say things, and the way you say things, you put the emphasis on certain thing. Okay, but pad vibhag. So there are verses that has 48, syllable, 64 syllable, 24 syllable. There are different. In Bhagavatam you will see that there are verses of different chanda. Okay, but most of the Bhagavad Gita's verses are Anushtup verses, 32 syllable, 4 vibhag, 4 pada. So that's number one. That tells what are the emphasis in a particular vibhaga. And then the second one is Anvaya Artha, means the literal meaning of the word. What is the meaning of, Atma here? What is the meaning of, any particular word that is Aham, Sarvasya, Prabhu. So there is meaning of that particular word. And then the third word is how to understand that meaning in context of grammar. Like for example, vibhakti, there are 7 vibhakti, and those vibhakti have purpose like karta, karam, karna, sampadan, apadan, sambodhan, right? So hey, sambodhan, Sambandha, Sambodhan, Adhikaran, like that, there are these vibhaktis. So these vibhaktis, Sanskrit, Rama, 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 Rameshu. Whenever there is a relationship, you know, you use the Sambandha, right? If it's, ekvachan, dvivachan, bahuvachan, like that. So in Sambandha in ekvachan, Sambandha in dvivachan, Sambandha in bahuvachan, like that, right? So there is a rule. Rameshu Putram, son of Lord Rama, like that. So you have you have to go with the vibhakti. If Rameshu Putram is together, then that has to be that the meaning of that has to be together. You cannot say Rameshu somewhere else and Putram somewhere else, because vibhakti is putting them together. Right? These two words together gives a particular meaning. So Vyakaran Vishesh is there. So you take the pad, we have the Sanskrit word, it has a meaning in terms of grammar, and then you give a simple translation. Okay. Now I'm not going to get into Sanskrit, class, but you just give a translation. Sanskrit translation is not like subject-verb agreement that you have in English. Ram goes, not like that. It has to be subject, then it has to be verb, then it has to align. Nothing like that. Sanskrit translation is given based upon the vibhakti. Okay. So the word can be anywhere. That's why when we study the Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam verses, it doesn't like the translation is goes as the words are coming. One thing you should remember. It's not like that. In English, the way you say, the way you translate. Sanskrit does not go like that. Okay. Word can be anywhere. Same verse, you can put the word anywhere. You can put into the meter, you can put out of the meter. But those are put into the certain meter, depending on what chanda is there. But I don't want to get into all of that. But just to give you the idea that there is literal meaning and then there is deeper meaning. Okay. And deeper meaning is called the summary of that particular statement. Okay. And that deeper meaning is what most of the time you would see Prabhupada wrote in his translation. So many times, if a Sanskrit scholar from outside will come, then they will say, they will try to follow this step, and they say Anvaya says that it should be like that. But Bhavarth says, but Bhavarth might be like that. This is one way of explanation, but Anvaya says like that. Okay, so you can see the complexity, right? And that gives the room for people to have different types of explanations. Okay, but our acharyas, and how to understand that, when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj was writing Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the very first Leela, which Adi Leela, you would see that he summarized everything. Summarized almost. Why? Because he didn't even know that he would last longer to write Madhya Leela or Anta Leela. So that's called taking the maximum mileage. Okay. So when Srila Prabhupada, I hope everybody here is our devotee. If you are not, if you have doubt, you can ask, challenge, that's fine. So everyone is devotee, but I mean to say the season, the one who can understand what I'm talking about. So Prabhupada, even he talks about karma kanda or sakam karma or niskam karma yoga. In the translation, he gives the value of bhakti yoga. So now somebody will say, but he's not talking about bhakti yoga. He's talking about sakam karma. So taking the maximum mileage, you are paddling. So what is the maximum you can get? So our acharyas given us or gave us the maximum mileage. Ultimately, what we need to do is bhakti. Okay, the emphasis is kavalya bhakti. That's why I brought this term. That okay, Gunibhuta Bhakti is there, Pradhanibhuta Bhakti is there, but your goal is to come to this stage of Sadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sarnambraja. So you need to understand everything from Bhakti perspective. So this Shastra, the Bhavarth that is given, is giving us the maximum mileage. And most of our Acharya's writings are like that. maximum mileage. What is good? Sai pumsam paro dharma. What is the good for this pumsams? What is good for the living being? To bhakti adokshaje. Devotional service of adokshaja. Which devotional service? Adokshaja. Now, what is the meaning of adokshaja? Adokshaja is translated as something which is transcendental. What does it mean, transcendental? Something that cannot be perceived by our senses. Something that cannot be something. Hare Krishna. Can somebody say that if you can hear me?
Now we can hear
Hi.
you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Like that, there is some issue with internet. So beyond, so acharyas, our acharyas have. Oh, it says Doom is not responding. Can you hear Mataji? Is it talking?
Yes, Prabhuji, we hear you, but
Okay.
it's
Okay. Thank
breaking.
you. Thank you. Thank you. I see that something is not right here. Okay. So our acharyas have given the maximum mileage. Any compilation that you read, bhakti is emphasized prominently. Okay. Because that is going to help the living entity. Sages are asking, sages of Naimisranya is asking Sutta Goswami, what is ultimate good for living being? The first question. What is good for, what is
Looks like we lost Prabhu.
Yeah, looks like yeah, we lost Prabhuji.
can you hear me? Huh?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, now
Oh,
we lost you.
my whole thing was frozen. I don't know what happened. Krishna. Okay, so I don't know what I was talking. What I was talking, Mataji? Satya Prabhu, what I was talking.
You were talking about our the acharya who tried to put in the beginning, maximum mileage with the yeah, probably that's where we were there.
Yeah, the first question uh, sages asked that the question, what is good for the...
Oh, what is good for the living being, right? Thank you, Mataji. Yes. So, ultimate good. What is ultimate good? Bhakti. So, our acharyas have given what is ultimate good for us. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So, anybody would like to share anything? Are you okay with what I presented here before I move to the next slide? Any questions, any advice, any concern, any comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I would definitely agree with that point, Prabhu. When you say the Srila Prabhupada main stress is always to be bhakti, no matter he is explaining any purport, anything like that. And that actually comes in one of the purport of chapter 2 as well, where somebody argues Srila Prabhupada that why you every time bring Krishna in the center and do bhakti. When you're talking about karma yoga, you're bringing Krishna at the center, and we're talking about jnana yoga, bringing Krishna at the center. We can understand that bhakti yoga is fine, but why in karma yoga? Why in ashtanga yoga? Then the exactly same thing what you just said. Srila Prabhupada's example was there that he wants us to stick to the goal, no matter what kind of yoga we are doing it. Our goal will always be Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, that you nicely presented. Thank you, Prabhu, for that recollection.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody would like to share, talk anything? Priya Mataji, you have anything that you'd like to talk? You know all of these things very well.
No, Prabhuji, I'm learning from you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. No, I don't have to add anything, Prabhuji, but I agree with what you said, what Padmadisha Prabhu said. Like, yeah, bhakti, that Prabhupada, that's why, like, many sometimes other people even criticizes that why Prabhupada is even talking about bhakti in chapter 3, or like chapter 2, even chapter 4, where actually Nishkam Karma Yoga has been talking about, but Prabhupada wanted to give the highest philosophy at the beginning only. So out of his mercy, he did it, and I believe that is the mood he wanted to inculcate among his disciples and followers and the aspiring disciples, I guess. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anybody would like to, because this is very important, we have to agree or at least have understanding. Otherwise, we are not extracting the real meaning.
Yeah. So Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
Prabhuji.
agree to this, the other Prabhuji and Mataji spoke about that. So our goal is always Kaivalya Bhakti, and it is just because we are so contaminated, we cannot go at that level without going through Gunabhuta Bhakti or Pradhanabhuta Bhakti. But yes, aim is that. But since birth after birth, we have done so many bad, good or bad, whatever. So uh, I mean, it's not a question, but my understanding is just because of our contamination, we cannot go, and we have to purify, follow the steps, what one after other and one after other, then we can reach it. That's where Acharya is talking about the main goal, getting to the maximum mileage. But getting to the maximum mileage, we need to follow the steps to get in.
Yeah. So not necessarily we have to go through every step to come to Kavalya Bhakti, but so one of the mistake, sorry Prabhu, that's how I have to present understanding. One of the misunderstanding that after reading first 6 chapter of Bhagavad Gita, people have, or even devotees have, they think that karma kanda leads to sakam karma yoga, sakam karma yoga leads to niskam karma yoga. Niskam karma yoga is only done for purification. So niskam karma yoga has 2 sections, the type 1 and type 2, or the beginning stage or advanced stage. The beginning stage is that one is not purified and one is trying to purify. Then come to the higher stage of niskam karma yoga and one is purified. And that qualifies one to perform Gyan Yoga. And then the advanced stage of Gyan Yoga is Stang Yoga, and then Bhakti Yoga comes. So they think that this ladder is telling that you can, in order for you to become Bhakti Yogi, you must have the Ashtanga Yoga perfection or Gyan Yoga, Sakam Karma Yoga, nothing like that. Bhakti is ahituki. Bhakti does not depend on anything. And that is very nicely given by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Samrita Sindhu. We'll study about that. So, yes, the, the consciousness of living entity is evolving through these steps, but there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee that one is perfected in Jnana Yoga process or Ashtanga Yoga process, they will have devotion for Krishna. No, no. So these are not the prerequisite. That's number one. Bhakti does not depend on anything. Yadrikshaya. Term for bhakti is used yadrikshaya. So then how bhakti come? Guru Krishna prasade paye. Bhakti lata bij. The seed of devotion comes from Guru, spiritual master or devotees, sadhu, and Krishna himself. So Krishna through Bhagavad Gita, through the Shastra, through the scripture. There is no other means for bhakti to come. Bhakti cannot come by studying all the verses of Bhagavad Gita and memorizing it and reading it and very proficiently saying each and every word very clearly. Still, you can do that's Jnana. And bhakti does not depend on it. Bhakti comes from bhakta. Bhakti sanjayate bhakta. Bhakta sanjayate bhakti. The one who is possessor of bhakti can transplant. That's why Krishna says, go, and learn from them because they are tattvadarshi. They have seen the truth. So they will impart that truth to you. So source of bhakti is bhakti itself. That's number one. The source of bhakti is bhakti. I have some devotion for my Lord. You have some devotion for. That's why this bhakti vriksha is very important. And when we talk, we don't talk. Also, we should not be talking too much on the platform of jnana, too much on the platform of mana, mind, too much on the platform of sastric, you know, um, knowledge that I know Shastra. No. Talk on the platform of bhakti. Your words should come with devotion. And whoever will hear, they'll be getting the devotion. So if you talk from the mind, it goes to the mind. You talk from intelligence, it goes to the intelligence. And if you be the scholar, it impresses the people who are a scholar. Not necessarily will give the bhakti. So Bhakti will come from bhakta. That's why associate with devotee who have firm faith in Krishna, and they will. That's why sadhu sangha sarva shastra ka hai. Lay mat sadhu sangha sarva siddh. This is not a simple verse. It's very simple verse. Left or right people throw, but Rupa Goswami has given the explanation of this very nicely, and we'll talk about that. So bhakti jadrikshaya does not depend on anything. Bhakti depends on bhakti itself. Bhakti comes from bhakti, and that's why Jagai Madhai can become pure devotee because Mahaprabhu wanted, Nityananda Prabhu wanted. In 6 months, Dhruv Maharaj can become pure devotee because Lord wanted it. Lord wanted to give the bhakti. So you would see multiple example in Shastra that bhakti like this devotee. Prabhupada came pure devotee, and he took all the people who have no background, Malecha, meat eater, walking naked on the street. They made all of them, Prabhupada made all of them shant, sannyasi, transformed their life, bhakti of a devotee. And you see, when Prabhupada gives classes, listen Prabhupada's class, each and every word, so devotional. Prabhupada would cite, nowadays people are talking that we should not talk too much Sanskrit and verses. People don't understand. But listen Prabhupada's class. Every day we should listen how Prabhupada is talking. So Prabhupada transplanted devotion in the heart of whoever he saw. Okay. So bhakti also, you cannot preach or make bhakta by your other strength. Okay. Your power and prestige and this and that cannot make somebody devotee. Somebody will become devotee by your devotion. Sranam, mananam, nididhyasnam. So this mananam is what very important. And we'll talk about tools of self-calibration. This mananam step comes there. So these terms are basically pradhani bhuta bhakti or guni bhuta bhakti for one to calibrate oneself. Self-calibration is very important. Okay. One of the Mataji was telling that if I give you a iPhone, you know everything, all the features of the iPhone, laptop, everything, you know. But if I ask you how much you know about yourself, the answer will be very minimal. Okay. So living entities are too much bahimukhi. Krishna says about that. Too much looking outside. But the bhakti, one has to come inside, be within themselves, look at the Atma, Paramatma, Bhagwan, and then focus on those elements. That's self-calibration tool, mananam. Too much, calibration from how you calibrate me. That's not the criteria. How you perceive me is not the criteria for my devotion. In the very initial stage, it might, he was not, you this, you that. Those are not the criteria. Okay. If I give you, go and evaluate the lives of 6 Goswamis, I don't know how much score you will give to them, the way they were living, the way they were doing, but Radharani will come to see them. So understand, this is understanding. You have to develop that what they were doing, 6 Goswamis were doing, that Radharani will come and Krishna will come. Hey, the salt, the bread that you are feeding me does not have enough salt. You need to put some salt. Krishna, can you understand that type of devotion? Yeah? So let's, we have to get into that space. The initial stage is good. Shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajan kriya, anartha nivritti. Yes, we are very much, in these 4 steps. We have some shraddha, we are doing sadhu sangha, we are doing some bhajan kriya, and we are trying to come out of anartha. But move on. There are other steps, 9 steps. Is there nistha, sakti, raga, bhava, prema? When we'll come to that stage? What are the criteria? So when we self-evaluate ourselves, then we know Okay, right now I am at the maybe little bit on the higher stage, but still anartha is too much prominent. So mananam. So this some of these tools are given by our acharya also for self calibration. But the ultimate thing is that one needs to come to the stage of pure devotion. And what are the quality, pure devotee? Rupa Goswami very nicely talks about that in Bhava and Prema Bhakti, 18 and 19 chapter of uh, Nectar of Devotion. That is summarized by Srila Prabhupada. So like that. So to answer your question, Prabhuji, Bhakti does not depend on anything, but anything else that we are talking about can be helpful for us to assess ourselves, to calibrate ourselves. Okay, is good enough? So let's start. I don't know what is time. I have to at some point 7:30, 8:30. Okay, 10 more minutes. So Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhu Sarvasraya Prati Sloke Prati Akshare Nana Arthakaya. So this verse says that Krishna Tul Bhagavata. So Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna. Krishna Vibhu Sarva Asraya. This is the shelter of everything. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And the Sarva Ashraya, shelter of everything. Prati Shloke, each verse, Prati Akshare, each Akshar, Nana, Artha, Kai, says. So, Nana Artha. Nana means many, Artha means meaning. So each and every verse and sloka can have multiple meaning. That is the very first profound verse that we have to understand. Right? We are trying to understand as it is. So Atma means, as I say, Atma means body, Atma means mind, and Atma means Paramatma also, right? Atmana eva tushtati. One is firmly satisfied in their understanding of Atma. So Atmani tushtati. Atma is fully satisfied in knowing the Atma. What does it mean? So one Atma here, as I said last class also, I believe. One Atma here is soul and another Atma is super soul. So the Atma is very satisfied knowing the Bhagwan. So like that, words have different meaning, and then different people can take those meaning and have the different translation. We'll see some examples, okay? And this one would take a lot of time to explain. So I'll just go with this one. This is very easy verse. So Om Purnamadah Purnam Idam, you know this verse. Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So what you would see here, can somebody read that translation by S.P. Srila Prabhupada and B.V.B. Baldev Vidyabhushan? Basically, that's what it means. So can we read the translation? Just somebody can just read the translation, please.
Srila Prabhupada. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is a complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. Baldev Vidyabhushan. The unmanifest Brahman is perfect. The manifested Brahman is perfect. From the unmanifest Brahman appears the manifest Brahman as various avatars. When the manifested forms emerge from the unmanifest Brahman, the unmanifest Brahman remains. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, so these two translation, if you look at same verse and we follow the teaching of Brahma the Gaura Sampradaya, both of these acharyas are of our Sampradaya. But see the translation, completely different translation. It is appears. I mean, the meaning we have to talk about. That's what is the intent of this discussion. Complete, different looking meaning. So the very first question that I would like to ask, that are these two translations that we see here are saying different thing or saying the same thing? So that you would understand when you would understand the meaning of as it is. Okay. So our acharyas teaches based upon time, place, and circumstances. Okay. If one person has to deal with many of please don't get offense, but I have to use the word, don't get offended, but I have to use the word. Many of the people who believe that God has no form, okay, then talk, he will talk in that context, right? So the audience that Baldev Vidyabhushan has to deal with and the audience that Srila Prabhupada has to deal with were two different audience. And Acharya can say things to inspire the audience. Now, is it bona fide or not? It's 100% bona fide. So Maitreya Muni and Vidura, they are talking. Okay. And Maitreya Muni says to Vidura that a perfect devotee who is knower of the absolute truth, he can, based upon time, place, and circumstances, give the teaching that will suit the audience. Okay, so sometimes that's the very first statement that I would like to make. Sometimes if you would see that there is some difference in the words that are being used to translate a particular verse, don't think that they are contradicting to each other, but they are based upon the time, place, and circumstances that they have to deal with. Their teaching is customized to address that type of audience. Okay, so that's what basically we are going to see, that as it is does not mean word for word meaning. It's not the way how the words are being translated. It's also not the way the whole verse is translated. How the words are being translated, how the entire verse is translated, and definitely it's not the purport, the way purport is written also. Okay, the purport can be different. The meaning of the word can be different, and the verse itself would be translated differently. Okay, these differences may exist. You may see some differences, and this is the one example. This was the second example that comes from Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter, but I'm going to pass that. So you would see some differences, but still it is as it is. So that is the challenge, that how, if the word for word meaning is different, if the translation is different, if the purport is different, still it is as it is. So we'll have to understand. And this as it is concept was given by Madhvacharya also. Mahaprabhu's teaching also talks about this. And our Bhaktivinoda Thakur also talked about as it is. What is as it is? So be assured that if the translation or purport appears to be different, the way the words are framed, that not necessarily mean that it's talking different thing. Okay, so we'll just get into this verse, and that would be, this is the verse that is coming from Jaya Dharma. This is called Dashmul Tattva. This verse has 10 elements. And it says that as long as, so you can say, and I'm not going to get into this today, I'll just give you a pause here. As long as you are saying this 10 thing, doesn't matter how you are saying, okay? And I gave a perfect example that, that, water, right? So water is called pani, is called thani. It has different names, in different language. Mataji, what do you call water in your language, Priya Mataji? What is the word for water
Jal.
in Bangalore? Jal. See, jal. So jal, pani, thani. Some other word? What is it, Divya Mataji, in your language? What do you call the water? Neera,
Nilu,
maybe.
Nilu,
Yeah. See,
Nilu.
but does it? But is it like is it see? Niru, jal, pani, thani. Are we talking about different substance or same substance? Are we talking about the different substance or same substance? Is it different or same? By saying nari,
Different.
Same.
niru,
Same,
huh?
Prabhuji.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it is. That's what you have to understand here. When you see that things are saying a little bit, this is unmanifested Brahman is also perfect. We'll get back. So that's how it is. Okay. So this verse will give us the understanding that what are those 10 elements. I want to little bit give you some time so that you can think about it. Or if you have those Mula Tattva, go and find this verse and study it. Be ready for next class. What are these 10 elements that have to be there? If they are there, then we are talking about as it is. Okay. Any questions, any doubt, any concern, any comment anybody has before we adjourn today?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Dandavat, Hare Krishna.
Dhanavad Pranam, Prabhuji. Yeah. Like usually whenever we give the Bhagavad Gita to others, like we specifically say like in ISKCON, like this is as it is. So today we understood much deeply what as it is really means. So whenever we try to distribute books or give our Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita to others, now I think we can give better explanation why it is as it is. Much deeper sense we can try to explain, Prabhu. It's nice class, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good statement. I think we have to know also, right?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Because
If we don't, we cannot say the deeper differentiation, then what we are going to explain to them. Yeah, why there is a
yes,
difference in our Bhagavad Gita and others.
yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody has anything else? Any realization? Did you understand? Can somebody summarize some of the discussion that we had today? Mananath Prabhu, can you summarize some of the discussion that we had today?
Yes, Prabhu. I think first we talked about the what status even means. Like it's coming out directly from a disciplic section without any interpretation, and we also talked about how acharyas can translate things little differently based on the time, place, and circumstances, but the intent is the same. And you also mentioned about high mileage, like especially about Prabhupada translating some of the verses, even in the karma yoga section as Bhakti yoga, based on the what the message, ultimate goal that we want to be understanding from the meaning. And you also mentioned about Guni Bhakti, Pradhana Bhakti, and Kevala Bhakti, and how Bhagavad Gita has all three of them. But ultimately, we want the message we want to get is Kevala Bhakti, and that's why some of the translations are like that. And You mentioned Bhagavatam is talking about Pradhana and Kevala Bhakti, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is talking only about Kevala Bhakti. And
Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you.
that's what I can recall, Prabhu.
Yes. Anything else that anybody would like to emphasize that Rabindranath Tagore didn't say, Mananath Tagore didn't say? So one thing also I emphasize is that Sanskrit verses does have the room for different meaning. That's what I was trying to also explain. That if there is a different meaning given of a particular verse, then you understand from where it's coming, and there is room for that. And we are not too against of that, right? We are not too against of that. And they can also very nicely justify. Somebody who is follower of Brahmanwadi school of theology, they can very strongly take the verse that are presented in Bhagavad Gita and strongly prove the point that Lord is Brahman. You know, that room is there because that's why we went through those 5 steps, how to basically translate a particular Sanskrit verse. And most of the translation that we see are bhavartha, basically artha that is based on bhava, bhava of devotion. So this is, she said about it, the maximum mileage. So our acharyas, in most of the cases, have given us the maximum mileage, bhavartha. That's okay. The literal meaning could be, ABC, but ultimately move on. Here is what you have to be there. So somebody may, translate on the stage of Gunibhuta Bhakti. Somebody may translate on the stage of Pradhanibhuta Bhakti, or somebody say something on the stage of Kavalya Bhakti. Our acharyas, knowing that we have to get into the stage of Kavalya Bhakti, they have presented all of the writings and literature in that context, so that living entity does not waste a lot of time going through Gunibhuta Bhakti and going through the ladder, rather straight come to pure devotion.
Hare Krishna
Then,
Prabhuji.
yeah,
Sorry. I have a
thank you.
question. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So like, but Prabhuji, when you said that like our acharyas have explained like the Kevala Bhakti, right? Emphasize the Kevala Bhakti in our things. So just out of curiosity, I'm asking. So do all the Vaishnav Sampradayas, apart from this Brahma Madhav Gaudiya Sampradayas, also do the same thing? Like the acharyas also did the same thing, emphasized the Kevala Bhakti in their interpretations of Bhagavad Gita or the Vedanta Sutra?
So it depends which school we are talking about also.
I'm just talking about, like, for example, we are Brahma Madhav Gaudiya Sampradaya. There are other Vaishnav Sampradayas like Sri Sampradaya,
Yes,
Pushtimargya Vaishnav
yes, yes,
Sampradaya, and other. I mean, I'm only talking about the 4 Vaishnav Sampradayas.
yes,
So not the Advaita Sampradaya or something like that. But I'm
yes,
just talking about this Vaishnav Sampradaya.
yes,
So
yes,
did they also interpret the
yes,
Kevala Bhakti?
yes, yes. Yeah. Now we understand that or not, but at least Ramanujacharya's teaching is Kavalya Bhakti. Madhvacharya's teaching is Kavalya Bhakti. Yes, and we'll have to talk about that. There are so there are basically 8 school of theology, and we fall into Vedanta. Vedanta has these 4 bona fide schools, which is Dvaita, Vishishta Advaita, Achinta Ved Tattva, that's coming from Madhvacharyas. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it. But yes, so to answer your question, do we have pure teaching somewhere else? Yes, yes. But now the follower, do they understand? Do they follow that? I mean, even in your Krishna consciousness is gone too. The teaching is very pure, but are we exactly following purely? Maybe not. But then what is the outcome? We'll talk, we'll give a discussion on that thing. But yes, Mataji, to answer your question, yes. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes.
It
Hare
exists. The
Krishna.
pure teaching exists somewhere else also. Yes.
Prabhu, when you say pure teaching, it is like pure devotion, Prabhu, unalloyed
Yeah.
devotion,
Yeah.
like Mahaprabhu has taught, or is it?
Yeah. Mahaprabhu's Ramanujacharya was, Srila Prabhupada said, whenever you see somebody who is following Ramanujacharya, where sustan dandavat. They say that Vayu Narotam, Vishnu Sarvotam, The same theology is presented a little different. Vayu is Narotam. He is the best among all the living entity. And Vishnu is Sarvotam. So Vishnu and Vishnu is Sarvotam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Mahaprabhu also says that Vishnu is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's pure devotion. But then the difference is mellow. Vishnu worship is done in Aishwarya Bhav, and Radha Krishna worship is done in Madhurya Bhav. So our acharyas have emphasized that one should worship Lord in Madhurya Bhav. Madhurya Bhav is the ultimate Bhav, and Madhurya has all other components. It has Dasya, it has Sakhya, it has Vatsalya. So yeah, pure teaching is there too, but then there are some high class, distinctions, little bit distinction like Achinta Veda Ved Tattva and Dvaita school or Vishishta Advaita school. There are some distinction there, and we'll talk if we continue this. I'll have a presentation on that. What exactly is Madhurya? What is Swarya? But yes, coming to the Swarya Bhav, coming to Vaikuntha, where there is no Kunta, it's pure teaching. One cannot get to the Vaikuntha. One cannot associate with any form of Lord Vishnu until one is in the pure devotion. That's a very simple understanding. No form of Lord Vishnu one can reach to without having pure devotion. So if the goal is to reach to Vaikuntha planet, there has to be pure devotion. Is that good enough, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
And I also appreciate that when you said that the difference in melos, I believe you know much better than me, than probably all of us. So even Bhaktivinoda Thakur also said the same thing, no, Prabhuji? I mean, I believe when I was reading Bhaktivinoda Thakur's the Bengali commentary on Bhagavad Gita, so I believe like he was also saying the same thing, like Sri Bhashya, when he was talking about Ramanujacharya Bhashya, said that the most authentic Gita's interpretation, he said, but then he also mentioned at the end of the first, like the introductory chapter, that but if we want to understand the mood of Madhurya Bhava, that is the Prema Bhakti, that is actually the particular mood of Gauriya Vaishnava Sampradaya, then we have to continuously read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's interpretations. That's what I just read in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bengali Tatparya of Bhagavad Gita. So I don't know if you also agree with this thing or not. Yep.
Yeah. So Mataji, this is a little high topic. So I'm reading from Manasiksha. See this book? Are you seeing this book?
Right. Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is Manasiksha, and this is compiled by Raghunath Das Goswami. So in verse number 4, now here he says, many of you, please just listen it. He says, Asad Varta Veshya Visarja Mati Sarvasya Harineha Katha Mukti Vyagrah na Surunu Kila Sarvatma Kila Nahi Api Taktva Lakshmi Patiratim. ito vayomanayam Braje Radha Krishna Swarati Manidau Tvam Bhajamanha. So he says that Tvam Bhajamanha, oh my mind, he says, oh my mind, forget about everything else and engage in devotional service of Radha and Krishna. The way Gopis, Brajvasi did. And for that, he says that Asadvarta is the very beginning stage. And then higher is Mukti. And higher is that one might be engaged in the worship of Lakshmipati. So I please forgive me. This is not me saying. I'm just repeating here. But that's why this is very. This could be a topic heart touching. But I wanted to just. That's why I wanted to quote the verse. So we'll talk about this particular verse. So Raghunath Das Goswami is making recommendation here that oh my mind, worship Radha and Krishna. The way Brajvasi, especially gopis, worshipped him. So that's Madhurya Rasa. So he's saying that these are all great, 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 but come to the stage of Madhurya Rasa and worship Radha and Krishna in that mood. So that is just the one of the reference I wanted to give you. And what you said is correct, Mataji, as I understand. Thank you.
No, Prabhuji, I mean, thank you so much for reiterating this. I mean, we should, I mean, when we discuss these things, I think our mood intensifies towards this thing. Well, although I don't know if I'm qualified or not, but still, at least I believe like I should develop the desire to at least experience that rasa, or at least to go to that rasa, even if I'm not qualified at this point of time. So, yeah, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. The thing is that one thing for sure, and that would be last one that I would like to say. There are grades, right? There are grades. 5th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 10th grade, like that, 12, and then like that. So, as I said in the very beginning, that bhakti is pure at each stage. So if somebody will ask that, are we are we getting bhakti by doing this, doing that? As long as you are getting bhakti, it's pure. So bhakti may be with lot of other anarthas, but that doesn't mean that the bhakti has become impure. So yadrik chaya nature of the bhakti also means that it does not depend on anything else, and nothing else can make it impure also. It doesn't like water and milk, if you put together they mix up and then becomes milky water, or water and milk. It's not like that. It's not like that the bhakti, when it mix up, when Gunibhuta Bhakti is doing bhakti, then that bhakti is you know uh, not a pure bhakti. It's not like that. Bhakti, whatever, wherever it is, it's pure, but the quantity might be very little. Okay, so that's the meaning when I say about the grade of devotion. Means the bhakti is there, but some understanding of some aspect of bhakti is there, but how much is that? Very clear, Mataji? So we need to
Yes,
basically, we need to keep on growing, growing. We all have devotion. We all are bhaktas. Whoever has bhakti, they are bhakta, right? So it's like that. But thank you so much. We'll keep on talking. Dandot pranams to everybody. Hare Krishna. Panchkalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya पतितानां पावने वे वैष्णव नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णविंद की जय सिंबल भक्तविंद की जय दिव्यांग श्री प्रभुपाद की जय ब्रह्मांड गौर्य संप्रदाय की जय सिंबल भक्तविंद की जय. Thank you. Dandat pranams. Hare Krishna. We'll see you all next Sunday.